Hey guys, Kiki Kannon here with Kannon Studios again to bring you another video. Sorry, like I said in my last video, I'm a bit of a mess. I've been working today in the studio and I've been meaning to get these videos out, and last week was just kind of a mess, but I'm getting the videos out now. So I'm working on this series where I'm kind of reviving some old projects and prop building that I did, and I'm revisiting them and going through the process of how I made it. My last video on this was my Shime swords. So this week I wanted to visit Selphie's Nunchucks, and revisiting my projects has been pretty fun because I am like, oh yeah, I remember that, and it seems like so long ago and like not at the same time. So it's kind of weird. So if you don't know, Final Fantasy VIII is, and I get a lot of crap for this, but it's actually one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game. Why that is, I don't know. It just kind of stuck with me, and I just love the characters, and I love Selphie, and she's just such a fun character. And I have cosplayed as Rinoa as well. So I chose, I know it's not her ultimate weapon, this nunchucks that I chose, the Crescent Wish, but I just like the design, and I'm just really like the stars and the moons and all that, and I just thought, oh, like, it's so fun and it's cute, and I like the gold and everything, and so I went with that one. And so I first started, and again, like when I made my Shime swords, I think this one was later. I think I actually made the Shime blades first, and then this was later on, based on some of the stuff that I did a little differently. Still pretty much a novice in some areas, but yeah, so when I started out, I still worked with Sculpey at the time. It's crazy now that I'm thinking, because now I have like all these resin printers and I can just 3D model it. I mean, it's a different process, and I still sculpt and do different things, but it's just crazy to see the progression of how everything has come. So I did work with Sculpey at this time. I don't really use Sculpey as much anymore. I still have some in my studio, but I feel like I have so many different materials. By the time I get to something, like sometimes it's dried out and stuff like that, and so I'm just like, you know. So I use a lot of monster clay now. It doesn't really dry out, and I can reuse it over and over again. So I kind of like moved over to that, and I feel like I can get details with it better. You think it's more expensive, but it's really not that bad. I guess it just kind of depends on what you're doing. I'm not trying to like hate on Sculpey or anything. But anyway, I'm gonna go on like a tangent. I really need to focus. I wrote a list in front of me of what I'm supposed to talk about, and I can't promise that I'm gonna stick to that. Yeah, so I first started sculpting the moon and the star, and it was going okay, and I did the process at the time with like Bondo and sanding and that kind of process, and some of you are probably familiar with that make props, and it can be kind of grueling and all the sanding and whatever. But the star kept getting misshapen, like obviously, because it has all these like 5 points, and it just like was so off, and it was driving me crazy. I'm like, oh, I gotta figure this out. So I came up with the idea to take wood, and again, I was pretty limited, but I think I had like the oscillating tool to cut it out. So I didn't use a Dremel, but I did have that. I think I got it for like $50 at the time, and I was never really a fan of it. Like, it didn't really work out for me, so I ended up getting rid of it. I didn't really like that tool very much. Personally, I was just like, yeah, I don't know, it wasn't for me. But anyway, at the time, that's what I used to cut out the top and bottom piece of wood, and the foam to kind of sandwich in the middle, and then I put Bondo around the edges, and that worked out pretty well. Sorry, Kupo, my cat. He wants to like be part of the video. Alright, I had to kick my cat out. He was gonna talk forever. So then I did do the molds, and I believe I started with Mold Star. I could be wrong. I don't remember what that one is. I don't really use that one anymore. And then I did wooden dowels with quick chick connectors, and then I used the Bondos to add the quick connectors. Why I wanted to do that at the time, I don't know, but I could pop off the bottom of the moon and star, and maybe I thought it would be easier to travel or manage. Not really sure. I think it would be fine if it was connected. But I guess if I wanted to deconnect them to touch up the paint, it maybe is a little bit easier. So maybe that was my thought around it. So I don't really remember why I decided to use that. And then I primed the wooden dowels, and I decided to use real chain, and I used my oscillating tool to cut it, so it was useful because it was actually able to cut metal. So it did have that use at the time. And then I just casted the moon and the star solid. I didn't have the holes in them for the quick connectors. So after I casted them, I was able to just like trace the hole and then Dremel it out, and I did it that way versus sculpting it and doing it the other way. But I think with the moon, I did it that way, but with the star, I pre-added, now that I was looking at the photos, I pre-added the hole and then I molded it, and then there was like the hole. So the star was different. And then I just wrapped, obviously, tape around to get the spiraling look. And I did use my lathe for this piece, and I remember because the pieces at the end were a little bit more advanced, and I remember doing it because at the time this was one of my first 2-part molds I ever did. So I was proud of myself at the time. And I know like 2-part molds aren't really like that complicating, I guess. You know, like they are and they aren't, but like anytime you do something new and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, and you do it, it's like, oh yeah, like cool. And then, you know, I sanded those, and I primed all my casted pieces, and I decided to paint them with Rub and Buff. I don't know why, but at the time I was like, yeah, this is it. This is looking good. I mean, it was fast, I guess, but like I probably wouldn't have done it that way, but I still liked it. And, you know, then I did a clear coat. I still liked it. And then I put it all together, and I believe at the ends, I screwed them in with like a 2-way screw and then glued them. So they were really on there. And I chose Selphie's seed uniform, and I love this uniform and the design, and I also made a carbuncle. And a fun fact about this costume is it was actually on here as a cosplay for like maybe like 2 seconds, if anyone remembers that show. I did apply for it for both seasons, never got into it, but it's fine. I didn't mind the show personally. I know it got a lot of hate, but when I was working on cosplay, I enjoyed watching it. Like, I liked watching it. I liked to see what the people were making. I liked it. You know, each to their own, I suppose. But like, I like competing and stuff, so for me it was like fun to see like the people, and like, because I kind of related to it, I guess. And in that contest, I think I was like, yeah, like I said, I was on it for like 2 seconds because I wasn't really on the show, because I was on stage and they were filming at Animate Miami. I happened to be on there for like a little bit, but I actually did win an award for that costume, so that made me pretty happy. I got the Best Craftsmanship Award, and I felt really good about it because at the time I was really focused on my sewing, and I was trying to make that uniform look as clean as possible, and I remember working like so hard on creating the jacket and stuff. Surprisingly, the uniform was the hard part for me to do personally, like the skirt and the jacket. I was just like, so hard for me. The prop came so much easier, which makes sense why I do more props than focus on props, because it's just so much easier for me, and I don't know why that is. But anyway, thank you guys for sticking around for this goofy video. I enjoy visiting my old work. I have more cosplay stuff to come. I'm not leaving cosplay. My schedule and stuff's been kind of crazy, and I haven't been around as much because I've been working on keycaps, and I've been learning that process and making keycaps, and I'm excited to share the keycaps I have that I've been working on. So I'm kind of pulling away from selling cosplay props and accessories in my Etsy. I have some remainder stuff I gotta get through to post, but I'm doing a lot of different things right now, other things that I'm not even like talking about because they're not even related to any of this. Maybe I do too much, I don't know, I'm like a jack of all trades, I suppose. But I am still going to be doing Twitch and making costumes, but I'm hoping if I do the keycaps, it will help me relax from making all these other commissions and cosplay for people, so then I can just re-enjoy cosplay. And I'm hoping that it'll give me more time to do my own projects, and then I'll have more motivation for my projects, because the last couple of years it's been hard to constantly work on cosplay commissions and cosplay for other people and cosplay accessories, and then have the motivation or the inspiration or the time to do my own projects. And I really just want to get back to photo shoots and cosplay so bad. So I'm hoping that this new transition works out for me. And I am also excited because I'm at like 980 subscribers. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm almost to 1,000, which is a big milestone for me. I'm really trying to get to 1,000. So that's really cool. I want to just thank you guys for the support. Really appreciate it. And thank you guys for hanging out. I'm sorry I went on a A lot of rants today. Clearly I missed Twitch because I used to talk sometimes a lot. So I'll have to find time to get back to Twitch so I can like ramble on when I'm in a really talkative mood. Thanks, guys.